Hello there, and welcome to the Stay Off My Lawn podcast, where we'll have a little fun, lots of laughs, and discussions on the common sense that needs to be applied to a lot of today's world news issues. And now, the disclaimer. Stay Off My Lawn is not intended as legal, medical, or financial advice. Void where prohibited. No purchase necessary to win. Open to legal U.S. residents 18 or over in the contiguous 48 states. Any resemblance to anyone living or deceased is purely coincidental. Actual price may vary. Only use as directed. Not a member of FDIC. And now, here are your hosts, Mike and Richard.
Hi, welcome to this week's edition of Stay Off My Lawn. It's April 23rd, 2024, and this is episode 63, and we have to apologize. We missed last week. It's only because I had bronchitis, and it would have been really
That's what
awkward.
you want us to believe. We know you were taking an unscheduled, unannounced vacation just to screw with the schedule of the
laying
show.
on the beach at St. Bart's. Bring me another margarita. And
Dude, give me one of those frilly drinks again with the cute little umbrellas. in it.
and had that cute little girl with the bikini bring it to me. After all, it was
You
420.
go to better vacation places than I do. I can tell you that.
Oh, I know. Yeah, I heard somebody talking about St. Bart's the other day. That's the only reason it came to mind. They said that everything was so expensive. I've never been to anything like that. We've been to the Caribbean before, but they said that they bought a small thing of sunscreen while they were there, and it was $60.
Oh,
Yeah.
jeez.
I'm like, man, that's a once in a lifetime trip. I don't know what you're thinking, but anyway. So that's
Yes.
that was my week last week. I spent it coughing and blowing the blood vessels out of my eyes from coughing so much. But well,
As long
it's
as you
always
didn't
fun.
break the tube that they glued back together on you there.
No, that I didn't even think about that. That would have been a concern if I had even crossed my little bit of gray matter. But yeah, that was. I survived and no blood or nothing like that. So anyway, I'm feeling so much better. I've got my infusion tomorrow at my immunotherapy. So, and last month's went without a hitch. So it looks like we're going to be doing pretty good. So
Yeah. Well, you know what they say. What doesn't kill you, you'll still be alive.
yes, that's
Something like that. I
Yeah,
don't remember what it is.
my wife lives by that. Oh, he's still alive. I guess I'll have to get my stuff off the passenger seat when I take him home. So anyway, how was your weekend? What'd you end up doing?
Oh, well, we've been spending money like a drunk sailor. It's one of those times when you're married a long time, which is 48, it'll be 49 in July for us.
Gee.
Everything craps out at the same damn time. We got a new bed. Then we got to get a new recliner. The wife's just finally things after 20 some odd years. I don't know why they wear out. Went to, and then the refrigerator, because she was using a lot of ice, and the motor that turns the auger to bring the ice forward in this old ice. Our refrigerator was 33 years old.
Oh my gosh.
The
It owed
guys
you
who
nothing.
came and picked it up. So we got us a bigger one. It's an LG, the stainless steel front. She wanted white. By the time she finally decided, you know what, let's just bite the bullet. The old fridge had some other issues, freezing things in the crispers, all kinds of other
Make
problems.
sure your hands are clean when you touch that stainless steel, because man, it gums up pretty quick. So
Yeah, that's what a microfiber towel. You just wipe
Yep.
it a little bit, it's gone. I
Yep.
figured that out already. So yeah, nice LG, 27 cubic foot, blah, blah, blah. Got all that put in and done. And now the wife's going to physical therapy for her total knee replacement, and she's doing really well. She's walking around the house mostly without cane or a walker, and
That's great.
she's doing really well. Pretty close to showering by herself. Basically, she did yesterday. I just had to help her into the one knee doesn't want to bend as well, but getting in the tub. So she took care of herself that way. So it's always these little things every day or every week that just is a little more progress.
What a blessing that would be if my wife had to have me in the shower with her. I think that would be. I don't think I'd complain much about that. That sounds like kind of fun. We haven't done that in quite a while. Yeah.
Well, it's a little too clinical, but
Well, I mean, we could try. We could pretend. We used to pretend about stuff. But anyway, yeah, it could be.
So yeah, all the new equipment. The my favorite part was the two Hispanic gentlemen. One of them, we bought all this stuff from Costco because it helps reduce we get rebates on things
Oh
through
yeah,
Costco.
you got the more expensive membership.
Yeah, so it's actually less expensive by the time the rebates kick in. It costs less.
Oh, okay,
So
cool.
I'm okay with that. What was it? Anyhow, he brought the bed out. He says, "Do you remember me?" His English is not so good.
Yeah.
Very, very nice. They didn't take them 20 minutes to get the old fridge out, the new one in. They were hooking up the they were hooking up the old fridge, and he goes, Olivia, he goes, "You got everything out?" I went, "Yes, it's completely, totally empty."
Why is it so heavy?
Yeah, because it's old. I said, "Yeah, these old ones are a lot heavier." I said, "This one's about 33 years old." And he goes, "Chairs? 33 chairs?" He says. I mean, they were just really nice, but that one just flabbergasted him. He goes, "Like, you got to be kidding me. Who makes this? This is GE?" And he's looking. I went, "No, it's an Amana. It's just an old Amana fridge."
Does Amana
But
even make fridges anymore? I don't know.
Yeah, I looked, and they're made by probably Whirlpool. They're all made in the same
Yeah.
plant anymore. But the compressor was going. I thought it was the fan. I'd bought a new fan motor to put in the back of it. It didn't change it. All of a sudden, you're hearing the compressor go
Oh boy.
while it's running. You know, it's like having a lifter knock.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
In your car
exactly.
that's getting old.
Yeah.
Kind of that noise. Yeah. And so I just went, "Man, dear, we are on borrowed time, and this old gal has served us well."
Because you don't want to wake up and
owe
have
us a
everything
penny.
thawed out. That's the worst time to go get a fridge. So you beat that. So that's good.
So we beat that, and because it was a 25 cubic foot, you got freezer section and fridge section, and we have a lot of stuff in there. I went and spent another $100 on a cooler. It's 152 quart cooler.
Oh, for goodness sake.
This thing is humongous, but you know what? It slid good. So
hey, was that a Costco purchase too?
No, this was from again a store that you belong to. It's a whopping $5 for life. It's kind of stupid, but it's called Bimart. It's out of Oregon. We've belonged to it since we had lived in Oregon many years ago. So
very cool.
But that's was $92, I think, something like that for 100. And this thing is humongous. It's made by Igloo. It's a good cooler. So I'm going to have to thaw out the freezer because we don't have a no frost freezer. We have a standalone 15 cubic foot freezer. We're going to have to take everything out of that and thaw that. I went, this will make it nice. It'll all just go in one place.
Yeah.
So,
well, there you go.
I barely got it all in there and cleaned out and doing stuff and got it pulled away from the wall, blah, blah, blah. And here they came. They pulled in the driveway. You hear the backup beepers. I was so exhausted on that day because the wife couldn't do anything. She wasn't able to grab and help and do much. So it's all me doing everything, getting stuff out of the way and moving things so they can get it in. And then they came and they were there a whopping 20 minutes.
When they're good, they're good. I mean,
and they don't use appliance dollies anymore.
They don't.
They just put the big straps underneath them and balance it. And they had great communication for going through the door and going down the step.
Wow.
Had to take the door off the hinges because it's 27 cubic foot fridges.
Yeah.
They're kind of big.
Yeah.
I had to move the shelf on the wall, take that all off. It was a built-in shelf, figured out how to take it apart. Got that all done, moved it way up high because this one vents in the back instead of out the front. So you have a lot of hot air going up the back of it, and it needs a place to go. Well, I didn't want it. It wouldn't fit under the shelf anyway. It was 3/4 of an inch too tall.
Oh, of course it was. Of course.
It would just start in the back, and then it's kind of sloped, and that I could get about an inch under the shelf, and that was it. So yeah, I've been busy, and my favorite thing of the 2 weeks since we've been gone was my youngest grandson. I got him to like steak when we were last year, and he knows to order medium rare. I said, "You're going to get asked a question. You're going to need to know that." And boy, he knows medium rare is what he wants. So we got him a gift certificate, and my daughter finally took him to get his steak at Texas Roadhouse. that's close to them in Virginia.
Yeah.
And he goes, wow, this place is really cool and good too. He said,
It's loud in there. Oh my gosh. You go during
uh,
when they're busy. Oh,
oh,
forget
and
it.
it was a Friday night. She goes,
Yeah.
well, they got there. It was like after 6. It was as soon as they could get there, between 6 and 6:30, something like that. And she goes, well, buddy, she goes, daughter's talking to him. She goes, it's probably going to be close to 50 minutes to an hour wait. He goes, okay.
Okay.
It's like, I finally got here to where the steak is. I ain't leaving till I get it.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
So-
Once you turn somebody on to steak, it's sort of like crack. I mean, there's like I got to have more.
Oh, he was, and he couldn't fit. I guess it was a nice sirloin, whatever, but it was medium rare. I could see it. The daughter took a picture of him eating it. He goes, I couldn't finish it all. I said, oh, did you leave it behind? No, I'm not leaving it behind.
Of course.
I'll eat it later.
They've got actually good prime rib, but that's what Barbara and I always get when we're there is prime rib.
Our prime rib, I think I've said that we go over to Oregon, a little small mom and pop restaurant that's in an old building that's been there forever, and it's got the wooden floors and the whole shoot match. Oh man, their prime rib is as good as the one I fixed this week.
I think whenever you can find peanut shells on the floor, you have to walk over. You got a good place, and yeah. So I'm very happy with that.
Yep, it's the waitress says, "Oh, hi guys. So what did you want to order today, hon?"
Let's see. When they know your drink order before you order your food, that means something. We've got.
That happens at our Mexican
waitress,
restaurant. We go up to, hi Sylvia. She goes, do you want lemonade and Dos Equis amber? She says,
can't believe your wife still drinks at Dos Equis. Anyway.
Wow, we have babbled way too long. Sorry.
Oh, we have. Whenever possible, we like to start off with some wisdom from our commander-in-chief.
There's been a lot of that.
We do have to start with this.
It's Uncle Joe's Wisdom of the Week.
Spring is here. The seasons and allergies are upon us.
I'm not sure. It was something about this year, so I'm grateful for his wisdom. Do you like Scrabble? Have you?
I've played it a time or two. It was not one of my favorite games, I guess.
When I was growing up, that was kind of one of the things that we liked to play. My mom was extremely smart, and she used to whoop my butt. But it was good. I mean, because when you lose, you learn words that, well, she's putting them down anyway. There's a new woke version that just came out. Now, no offense to the Gen Zers that might be listening, but supposedly this is for you because you don't like so much competitiveness. So there's no scoring. You have teams that you can kind of get together. Oh, I don't have a good word. Can you help me? So anyway, it's basically it's Scrabble for wusses is the way I like to put it. So anyway, there is a new version out there. If you're a wuss, then this might just be for you. So anyway, speaking of wusses, I forgot to tell you about this. Remember how we talked about that incident in Alaska with Planet Fitness?
Yes. Uh-huh.
They lost almost $400 million in stock value, and in a month's time since all that happened, it's devalued over 13.5%. And it's not getting any better. Since then, another incident happened, and this one's in Gastonia, North Carolina, just outside of Charlotte, where a man was totally naked walking around the women's restroom, inviting women to take a shower with him, rub lotion on him, all this kind of stuff. And unfortunately for him, which fortunately for the rest of us, because they took him out of there, one of those women was 17 years old. And according to North Carolina state law, that's a minor. And once you do that kind of thing in front of a minor, it becomes a totally different ball game. I don't care what your rule is at Planet Fitness. They're going to take you out of there. And that's exactly what they did. 911 was called. He was arrested, and as far as I think it was 2 days ago when I looked this up, he's still awaiting a trial or whatever for a $25,000 bond, which is not enough. I think that
no, I don't think so either. Well, they have a new CEO too. Some lady is now the CEO. Yeah. The other guy is gone. He got ousted, I guess. Supposedly he was temporary from the original creator, the guy who started Planet Fitness, who is quite conservative and not happy with them at all.
Oh, really? Yeah.
So,
Well, I heard this new person is very DEI focused. So,
oh yeah, that's going to go well
I
because
mean,
that saves a lot of money with all these places who do all this wokeism stuff. Really rack in the bucks when they do.
exactly. It did. I've got actually for next week. I've got a clip. I think it's from Tulsi Gabbard talking about a lot of this stuff, and it is true. I mean, if you want to run your company into the ground, embrace DEI, embrace ESG, and embrace all that stuff because it does nothing for you. It's just going to ruin your company. But anyway, we are actually up against a break. Let's do that. And when we come back, we're going to talk about this. I can't even speak today, about FISA 702, which has been reinstated and enhanced. If you want to use that word, I think that's probably the wrong word, but anyway, it's been expanded. So we'll talk about that when we come back. So hang in there.
Guests on the Stay Off My Lawn podcast stay at the luxurious Motel 6, right off I-75 on Highway 20.
Temperament adds to your fun. Tackle's fun for everyone. Tackle freshness, smoothness too. You will love it, millions do. Makes your mouth feel fresh and clean. After meals and in between. Tackle mint adds to your fun. Double mint chewing gum.
You will love the double fresh taste and double smooth chewing goodness of Double Mint gum. That's why we say that chewing Double Mint doubles the pleasure of everything you do. So remember, Double Mint
adds to your fun.
It's fun.
Double pleasure all in one. So delicious, great to chew. Treat yourself and your friends too. Tastes so good and lasts so long. Get some soon, you can't go wrong. Double Mint adds to your fun. Double Mint chewing gum.
All right, welcome back to Stay Off My Lawn, segment 2. We were talking about that FISA 702. If you're not familiar with that, it's something that expired at the end of last year, but it's supposed to authorize the FBI, the CIA, I guess, so a targeted collection of foreign intelligence information from non-U.S. persons located abroad. But now it's been expanded to grant this power from the to the U.S. government to spy on its own people. Which, it's sort of like the Patriot Act on steroids now. Which to me is terrible, obviously.
Well, I mean, it's almost like they were doing the, that Patriot Act and that other stuff that works so well. We gathered a lot of intel on people that we were wanting, folks who were going to church and all these ones who are just bad for America that we need to expand this so we can watch even more people now. This is awesome.
I think they like the whole misinformation. Remember the whole COVID thing, and then the election denier people, and the whole thing is like, if you question the election, you're an election denier and you're a conspiracy theorist, and we're probably going to have to tap your phones.
If you don't vote for the D.
Exactly.
Then you are definitely not good for America.
If you're a registered R, we're gonna come listen to you. Hey, and you go ahead and listen to whatever I have to say. And if you're gonna arrest me, go, do what you got to do, I guess. Sorry.
Yeah, this is not making Mike Johnson very popular either.
No. Vivek Ramaswamy released a video on this subject the other day and explained this ugliness much better than I can. And here's how he put it.
The House recently voted for a FISA 702 reauthorization. I say reauthorization in air quotes because it was actually a dramatic expansion of the power given to the surveillance state to now co-opt any company, not just communications companies like Verizon or Google, but any company to be able to do its bidding through spying on everyday American citizens through the back door. That's what the House passed. And now the Senate, including with the support, shamefully, of Senate Republicans, has now voted to pass that as well. Shame on the Republican Party. Shame on Congress. Shame on our elected leaders. The government you elect is unfortunately the government you deserve, as Thomas Jefferson said, and that was meant for moments like this one. I am sick and tired of hearing of Republicans railing on cable television about the weaponization of government, waxing eloquent, signaling their virtue to our base, while actually then voting to give that government the power that allows that government to be weaponized. It's disgusting. The countless list of Republicans, look everyone who either voted or even some who chose not to show up. This is shameful. I'll give credit where credit was due to the likes of Mike Lee and Rand Paul, actually stood up as Republicans with the spine for civil liberties. But for the rest, yeah, it's easy to talk about the weaponization of government when you are literally enacting the statutes that allow that massive surveillance state to continue to grow. Forking over more money to Ukraine while we have problems right here at home. Expanding our surveillance state without justification. Using fear-mongering reminiscent of the Bush-Cheney era. That's the real divide in today's Republican Party. It's not even in the Republican Party, it's the divide in our country. Between a managerial class in the deep state of the government. Involves both parties. It's a bipartisan affair. The worst ideas in Washington, D.C. are often the bipartisan ones. That managerial class and the everyday citizen. At one end of the spectrum is this view that we should use our own resources to somehow fight and even start foreign wars that don't actually advance our interests while expanding an Orwellian security state here at home. Not just through the government anymore, but merging with private companies to do through the back door what the government couldn't do through the front door. That's one vision, supported by most of the Democratic Party and a good chunk of the Republican Party. And on the other side, a vision which says hell no to that vision, that we actually believe in the Constitution, that we believe in the vision that our founding fathers set into motion, that we believe in the Bill of Rights, that we believe in the First Amendment, that we believe in the Fourth Amendment against unreasonable searches and seizures by the government, that we view the Constitution as actually the bright, shining North Star of our country, not some pesky constraint that we find our way around. Next time you have Republicans that stand up about the weaponization of the government against our party or conservatives, ask them how they voted on this bill or whether they voted on this bill, and that'll tell you the truth about how much they actually care versus what type of lip service they're throwing and feeding your way to lull you into submission.
Yeah, it is like the Constitution is a pesky restraint. He put that perfectly.
Yeah, it's just a paper that they're using like a rug, which I talked about before. They're just wiping their feet on it. Yeah, that old paper. We don't. No. Yes, that old paper is preventing you, and it's irritating Biden because he just lost another thing yesterday, and I forget what the heck it was. But they keep trying to do stuff against the Constitution, and fortunately, some people are filing lawsuits against some of this, and it's going to the Supreme Court, and they're going, no. Well, you just put in that conservative. We're going to have to pack the court now because they're not getting their way. It's just irritating them, and they're getting more stupid by the minute on the stuff they're doing because they're going, uh-oh, things aren't going our way.
Well, even the left-leaning justices on the Supreme Court, I mean, have started to see it our way constitutionally and has shut down some of this stuff.
Yeah, we've had a couple of 9-0 votes, which
yes, we have.
I'm shocked about.
You don't normally see that. By the way, if you go to Senate.gov, you can find out what senator, if your senators voted for or against this. One Republican senator voted present. Anyway, there were Republicans and Democrats that voted both ways. This was really a weird vote. It wasn't along party lines really at all.
Well, it was pretty much everybody voted for it, had a D.
Yes. But there was, like Vivek said, I mean, there was
in the House, it was like 100 and some.
Yeah, it was very close in the House, which I just don't understand. I mean, why do you have an R next to your name if you're not a constitutionalist? To me, that
stands for rhino.
Yeah, apparently. By the way, it passed the Senate 60-34, so it wasn't even that close.
No.
It drives me crazy.
There was a bunch of them that jumped ship. You're talking 10 of them or whatever that went over on the other side or more than that.
Drives me crazy.
Anyway.
And if you think COVID and the response to it is all over, all over the world, people are wanting things to be forgiven and forgotten. It's like, just get over it. It wasn't that bad. Yeah, we made you stay home for 2 years. Yeah, we made you close. Do you know a third of all the small businesses in America, businesses that were in that category of small business, a third of them had to shut down and never reopened during COVID. Yep. That's devastating to an economy. And like I said, I lay some of
and
this.
they keep saying, "Oh, we created 250. There was 250,000 jobs. Of the 250,000, just under 100,000 of those were all government jobs.
Yeah.
That does nothing for the economy at all.
Or there were jobs working at a fast food joint or whatever. Nothing you could actually sit down and traditionally and make a mortgage payment or do anything like that.
Yeah.
Those are traditionally jobs that were taken up by retirees like us or
going back to work.
or high schoolers or whatever. I mean, that's when we were kids, when we went to a Burger King or a McDonald's, you never saw anybody 30 years old trying to make it back there. You just didn't see that unless it was a manager. I mean,
yeah,
you just didn't see that. Anyway, we are not moving forward. There's still a lot of people that are hanging on to this COVID thing, and I'm one of them, because I think if we don't learn from our mistakes, if we don't learn from the mistakes of listening to supposed experts, then we're gonna fall for it again. Collectively.
Yeah, no, we looked at it and then started doing some research and go, well, wait a minute, this is not all good stuff.
Right.
And so we're in the true blood category. We never took this stuff. And somebody goes, I saw something the other day that says, oh, that's just all a bunch of, hogwash. And really? I said, go talk to a funeral director and they'll tell you what is in people's bloodstreams when after they've passed and they have to embalm them. It plugs up their equipment and their machines because it's just like rubber goo going through.
Well, I was talking to the nurse at the oncologist's office yesterday, and she said that everybody her and the oncologist himself, that they had to get the shots. There was no choice for them, and they all got sick, terribly sick.
Yeah.
And I'm going, I guess I had it. I don't know. But that's kind of the way it works most of the time from everybody I know. Anecdotal, I get it, but that's my experience.
Gonna kill your grandma if you don't get the shot.
Well, anyway,
and trying to coerce you and force you into it is like, nope, not doing it. Don't care.
They kicked thousands of people out of the military for refusing it. So I mean, these are people that have specific skill sets that we need in the military, and they they threw them out. It's just terrible. Anyway, we have to purposely move forward with a mindset that this is never going to happen again. And I've got a clip from Malcolm Roberts. He's an Australian senator talking about just that.
It's become clear that people in this country and globally have been steamrolled. It is also clear that it has been coordinated globally. It is also clear that it has been integrated, not just over 6 months, not just over 2.5 years, but it has been planned over decades. The changes to legislation in this country were done so that they could control doctors and people. But the people are waking, and it's thanks to people like Dr. Altman and all the presenters here today, thanks to people like Senator Babette and Craig Kelly. We know and we knew that this is all bullshit and that we've been had. But we are going to hound you down, the people that are guilty. We are going to hound you down and hold you accountable. And we will expose your global agenda so that the people of Australia can be free in the future. Because I love my kids and I'm looking forward to my grandkids. And we are going to save this country.
Yeah, I think if it was up to Rand Paul, Senator Rand Paul, he'd have Fauci behind bars right now, because he's totally convinced that this guy was part of a bigger wheel in motion behind the scenes.
He's not only convinced, it's actual fact.
Yeah.
I mean, it's all the stuff no, we didn't fund that. No, no, maybe there was a little funding my eye.
Yeah. And if it wasn't for the Biden regime complicit DOJ, he would be up on charges. Right now, all they can do is question him and expose all this stuff. But with DOJ the way they are in the back pocket of the Biden regime, it's not going to happen. At a TED Talk in 2022, the then new CEO of NPR, Catherine Maher, anyway, she had this to say about about facts and the truth. And this is very short.
That perhaps for our most tricky disagreements, seeking the truth and seeking to convince others of the truth might not be the right place to start. Our reverence for the truth might be a distraction that's getting in the way of finding common ground and getting things done.
The reverence for the truth. is holding us back.
I saw that. It's like, what? Oh, well, we can't tell you the truth because, it might be more than you can handle. So let's not go there.
It's just a distraction. I mean, what are you thinking?
What the hell kind of? And we pay our taxes, pay her salary.
Absolutely.
What the hell is that about? I am so sick and tired of that.
I just can't believe that people like that are still in charge of anything. To come out and say anything that the truth is a distraction? Are you kidding me? But that's what we've dealt with since 2020.
Don't let the truth distract you. Here, watch more of this propaganda crap that we designed for you.
That's exactly right. I mean, now that the truth, especially for COVID, has come out, I mean, everybody on the left or everybody that was big proponents of that are sitting on their hands, are very, very quiet. You don't really hear much about it. Well, I mean, we were doing the best we could. We made you stay home and lose your job, and we did the best we could.
You lost your house, and it's not a problem, and you're homeless now. But just get over it.
You got to understand, it was so hard for us. Of course, government employees like NPR, they still got paid. And even though they stayed home, as a matter of fact, I saw something recently that. A lot of government employees just recently, as of the end of 2023, just went back to work. They've been working from home for 3 years now. I've got a friend that works at Home Depot. He's an accountant for Home Depot. He's still working from home. So, I mean, because they found out that it worked better. I don't know. Anyway, let's take a break.
Well, that's kind of become the norm because of this, and it's gone and it's backfired. You have all of these businesses in the city where all the offices were in all these big complexes and that, they're all empty now.
Yep.
And they, as soon as their leases are up, they're not paying. That's going to cause a crash in the economy real soon.
No, I agree. It's getting uglier, and we're probably going to dip a little bit further as a society and as a government, or as the United States, before it gets better. And I don't think electing Trump is going to fix it, but it'll be a step in the right direction. So anyway, that's my take on it. So anyway, we're up against a break. When we come back, we're going to talk a little bit about Title IX and how that got changed recently. So hang in there. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. More of the Stay Off My Lawn podcast is coming up.
When it comes to vaping, the truth can get clouded. So let's make it clear. Vaping is not safe for youth.
Because vaping can put microscopic particles into your lungs.
And dangerous things like metals into your body.
And nicotine, which can harm a person's brain development through their mid-20s.
With appealing flavors, high nicotine levels, and lots of promotion on social media.
Many kids think vaping is harmless, but it's not.
So talk to your kids about the risks of vaping.
Because when you talk, they hear you.
Learn more at underagedrinking.samhsa.gov.
Hi, welcome back to Stay Off My Lawn. It's just past the halfway mark, which I tripped over.
Breakfast is getting closer. I can taste it.
I skinned my knee when I tripped over the halfway mark. Anyway, we talked a couple of weeks ago about Title IX and how it was civil rights legislation that was actually passed back in 1972 to prohibit people from being discriminated against based on the sex, on their sex in education programs or any activities that receive federal financial assistance. But it's been brought up lately to try to keep biological men from competing in women's sports, which is a good thing. Most of us, 70% of Americans, as a matter of fact, I saw this the other day, agree that biological men should not compete in women's sports. But that doesn't stop these people who have this agenda. So anyway, the Biden regime recently didn't like the whole Title IX being used in that direction. So some changes were recently made. Now the definition of sex in Title IX includes gender identity, allowing biological men to participate in girls' sports, allow biological men to in girls' locker rooms, allow men to take girls' scholarships, force the use of preferred pronouns, and if you don't play along, you're in trouble. But and this is just going to destroy women's sports if something doesn't get done.
Yeah, you're talking about that. I saw there was a junior high school where was like a track meet, and oftentimes it's between 3 and 4 schools that get together to
Oh,
have
was
a
that the
track
shot
meet.
put one you're talking about?
Yes, the shot put one, and they would go up there, get in the circle, and get back out and go here.
Yep.
None of them, not a single
Because
one of them would do
there
it.
was
And just after that, I saw that Serena was supposed to have one of these tennis matches. She's kind of moved down the rankings a bit.
Yeah.
Was supposed to play against a male. She came out and went, I forfeit.
Nope.
Not going to play him. No way in hell am I playing a male. I don't care if they're wearing a tutu dress or not. It don't make no difference. If you still got the old
family jewels.
How do you want to put it? Yeah, the jewels.
Testosterone level.
Slim and the twins.
Oh yeah, Slim and the twins.
Slim Jim and the twins there. You're still pushing out testosterone and the muscle structure, and it's just different.
I don't care if you cut all that stuff off. You still, as you grew, you still have that muscle structure. You still have that base. Your bone structure is different. I respect Serena for doing that. I think that's a fantastic thing to do.
And a lot of women in these things are just no. And you got Riley Gaines made the swim team for the Olympics, is my understanding.
Yeah.
And Leah Thomas is not allowed to go because the International Olympic Committee said nope.
Good.
I don't care what you want to wear, or if you got fake Hooters put in or not. You're not a female. Period.
Well, a lot of the European countries have kind of backed off on this a lot. As a matter of fact, Great Britain is kind of turned us back on allowing kids to go in for transitioning or the puberty blockers and all that kind of stuff. They've eliminated that completely, and they are normally much more lefty than we are. We have just gone way off the rails as a country. But yeah, I mean, look up that video. If you have not seen this, Richard and I both have obviously seen this. We've sent it to each other. But the video of the girls' shot put team, because it was a biological male on the other team, they walked up to the shot put circle, spun around, and walked back out. And that was all they did. And every one of them just kind of in protest. That's what needs to happen. If you've got a girl in women's sports, or in sports, even at high school, middle school, whatever, if that kind of crap is going on the other team or even their own team, quit. I mean, unfortunately, go to a different school, one that doesn't put up with that kind of stuff. I mean, the only thing they understand is being shut down by protest. That's what they do to us whenever we're trying to push an agenda that they don't happen to like. It's protest. So,
yeah, it's you don't need to take and shove that stuff down our throats. That's just wrong.
Yeah.
And girls, if you've seen it, I watched a video here a year or so ago of a volleyball match where broke her orbital bone in her face and her nose and her eye socket. All that stuff was...
She got hit with a spike.
Just from being hit with a heavy-duty spike from a trans person playing... Their body is not, women's bodies are not made up to take that kind of stuff. That's not what they used to call it the fairer sex for a reason.
Yeah.
It's just Mother Nature. That's just what it is, people.
You just can't throw that away.
That's wrong.
Yeah.
That kind of crap is just wrong.
Yep, absolutely. But you voted for this, America. Congratulations. Show up in November, and let's try to get some things changed. Speaking of change, which I wish we could change this.
Speaking of voted for.
Yeah, exactly. Another $90 billion aid package for foreign wars was passed with GOP Speaker Mike Johnson overwhelming approval. He even though not long ago, he said explicitly that he would vote for no more funding of the war in Ukraine until we fixed our own border. He said it several times. It's all over YouTube. Go find it. But he apparently threw that idea out the window recently.
Yeah,
in fact,
he's just McCarthy 2.0.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. Lots of members in Congress were waving Ukrainian flags after they voted for this, too. I've never seen anything like that
is
either.
Not going over. That is hitting everything on social media.
Yeah.
It's like, you got to be kidding me.
I just don't understand. As you know, that out of that $90 billion, $60 billion of it is going to Ukraine, which I think is well over makes it $170 billion so far. $200 billion.
It's like half a trillion is one thing I saw.
It's a lot.
I mean, they're hiding so much of the stuff that's going over there and the kickbacks. I think that's why they were all celebrating. Yes, we get another round of kickbacks.
Yeah. Well, it's a war they just can't win. And I totally believe this. And anybody with common sense looks at Ukraine, looks at Russia, and unfortunately, you got a lot of innocent guys on both sides that are going to die continually because they cannot find some kind of common ground over all this. And it drives me crazy. Senator Tommy Tuberville from Alabama, which Georgia had the stones to elect somebody like this to the Senate. Instead, we got the two that we have. Anyway, he was recently interviewed by Jesse Kelly on the First TV. And since he's on the Armed Services Committee, he's got some good perspective. And he was asked specifically about this.
Again, I didn't invent the wheel here. I just come up here and I've seen what's going on. And I have not voted for one dime to go to Ukraine. I do not believe, and again, there's nobody that's got any more information than me because I'm on armed services. I've been in all the classified hearings. I've asked questions to all the generals. People have been there. I've had people here, hostages from Ukraine and people that's been fighting there. I've talked to all of them. And I see where Mike Johnson's changed his mind. Said, I've seen things now that changed my mind. We need to give money to Ukraine. They can't win. I don't know how to put it any more plain. They cannot win over Russia. We need to go over there and get this madness over with and save the lives of people from Ukraine and Russia and draw a line, a new boundary. They keep saying that Vladimir Putin's going to run through Europe. He doesn't want Europe. What the hell would he want that for? I mean, they have no minerals, they have no gas or oil, they don't have anything. And sure, he could probably go through there because they have boutique armies now. They don't spend any money on defense. But at the end of the day, this guy does not want people on his borders, with weapons like us in Ukraine. NATO wants Ukraine to be on their team. I don't believe they need to be on their team. We wouldn't want China and Mexico. At the end of the day, that's what it's all about. They can't win.
Yep. I like that he tells it very plainly.
Here's what the deal is, and this is what's going on. And it's like, and I've said this before. Why are we supporting one communist country against another communist country? Why are we involved in that?
Well, I think the other side wants to say that, well, if we allow this to happen, then we're going to give Russia too much power and they're going to have all these, control over all this stuff and it's going to be bad globally. I just don't buy that. Unfortunately, there's going to be skirmishes and wars all over the world. I mean, we got stuff going on in Taiwan. We got stuff in Israel. Israel, on the other hand, is a true ally of ours and has been for a long time. So, I mean, yeah, we probably should send some money to them to help them because they're getting attacked from a lot of different fronts over there, and it's probably just beginning. But anyway, this whole thing about Ukraine is got a lot of people fuming. Here's Congressman Chip Roy, our good friend, talking about Chip. Yeah, me too.
But the truth is, Americans are dying, not just Ukrainians, at the hands of wide open borders, while literal hostiles flood into our country. Fentanyl pours into our streets. People are chanting death to America. And the response by Republicans is to pass a $1.7 trillion cap-busting spending bills under suspension of the rules, handing the keys to the NSA and Intel to continue spying on Americans. And now we're on the floor under a rule to give another $100 billion to fund war, unpaid for, with zero border security. Under a rule which Republicans should oppose because it is a process pre-designed to achieve the desired predetermined outcome with no border security. The individual votes on Ukraine, Israel, and Taiwan and a sweetener bill for TikTok are belied by the fact they are being packaged together as an amendment to the Senate passed foreign aid bill. This was all pre-cooked. It's why President Biden and Chuck Schumer are praising it. The problem is there were 9 amendments handpicked by leadership in order, despite 300 amendments having been filed. Speaker Johnson said in January, if President Biden wants a supplemental spending bill focused on national security, it better begin with defending America's national security. We want to get the border closed and secured first. To that, I say amen. And where is that, Speaker Johnson?
He's
I don't have anything to add to that.
No.
Thanks, Chip. That sounds.
He covered a lot of
and I
ground.
Yeah, that was definitely there. I love some of these idiots on the left. Do you know that if Trump gets in, he's going to do this, and he's going to do this, and we're all going, yeah,
Mm-hmm.
That's what we want. Thanks for the advertising.
Yeah.
It's like you're not getting this. This is not the minority. Is the majority's going? We've had enough. So
Yeah, and I think we were talking off the air that 70% of Americans are not for sending more money to Ukraine.
No.
Where are all these people? I mean, and if Tommy Tuberville has heard the same briefings and everything and talked to the same people from Ukraine and from Russia or whatever, and Mike Johnson, his heart got turned to where he goes against his his promises. But Tommy Tuberville was not. I don't understand. Why are you not holding on to convictions that you promised that you would? He couldn't be more disappointing to me.
Yeah, it's extremely annoying. And I just saw that because tax time rolled around and it's over now, they have amazing how they can have numbers that quick. But this is the biggest tax haul they've had ever. $7.4 trillion.
Of course.
We don't have an income problem. We have a spending problem. And they're spending this money. Well, it's the government. No, it's not the government's money. That's the taxpayers' money. That's our money you're spending. And they spend it like it's water. They don't care.
Like we talked a couple of weeks ago, they're adding on to the national debt, $100 billion, I think it is, $1 trillion every 90 days. So, I mean, we are effectively broke. How can we pass a bill for $190 to $100 billion to send over to another country, which most people cannot point out on a freaking map?
Yeah, to protect their borders when they just, the only lawsuits happening I'm getting wound up.
Yeah.
The wife goes, I think you need to stop looking at political stuff on your phone. But, just like a dog. I'm going to get something here pretty soon.
You get smoke coming out of Richard's nose, we got a problem. Yeah.
The only lawsuits are happening from the federal government are when Texas or something down along the border wants to stop something, they're putting a lawsuit so that it will continue. That's not protecting our border, people. That's the wrong way to go.
It sure is. Yeah. Hey, we're going to talk a little bit more about the border when we come back. We are up against a break, but we've got a couple of good clips about from a couple of politicians about the border, and you're not going to want to miss that. So hang in there. We'll be right back.
I'm Charmaine Davies, and every week my guilty pleasure is tuning in to the podcast Stay Off My Lawn. It's funny, it's informative, and the guys that present it are just fabulous. So make sure you tune in every week to Stay Off My Lawn and make it your guilty pleasure too.
With more ways than ever to connect to news and entertainment, 90% of new car buyers want that tried and true AM/FM radio option. That's because your local radio stations are reliable, trustworthy, and bring you a local connection that can't be replicated. Not to mention, it's free. No subscription or cellular data required. More than 80 million Americans each month depend on AM for their news, weather, local sports and entertainment, plus talk radio. Help keep AM radio an option in new cars. Text AM to 52886. You'll get an auto-filled email letter to send to Congress urging them to keep AM radio in cars. Again, text AM to 52886. Brought to you by your friends at the Stay Off My Lawn podcast. Hi, welcome back to Stay Off My Lawn. We're probably going to go way over on this one, but we got a lot of clips to do.
I took my tranquilizer. I'll be fine now.
Yeah, we injected Richard, and he's going to be calm. A little bit of Xanax mixed with Jim Beam. And
these words are all fuzzy now.
The impeachment hearings of Mayorkas, of course, is dead. That's all gone away. But he still goes up on the Capitol Hill and smugly refuses to answer legitimate questions. Here's a bit of a clip from him and Ted Cruz, and Ted Cruz does not give him any slack. He's just as bad as Rand Paul, which I love. Here we go.
Is there a crisis at our southern border?
Senator, there is a very significant...
That's a yes or no question.
There's a very significant...
Is there a crisis?
There is a very significant challenge that we are facing.
Yes or no, is there a crisis?
I believe I've addressed that question.
So you're refusing to answer. Sir, let me ask you the next question. Has the crisis at our southern border made Americans less safe? Yes or no?
Senator, we are dedicated to the safety.
Has the crisis made Americans less safe? I don't want a discourse. It's a yes or no question.
Senator, we have a challenge of
You refuse to answer the question. Mr. Secretary, let me show you how someone doing his job answers a question in a straightforward manner. Chief Ortiz, is the crisis that is currently ongoing at the southern border making the border less safe for Americans and aliens alike? Answer, yes. One word, one syllable, 3 letters. That's how someone answers a question and does their job. Will you show the same integrity Chief Ortiz shows? Is the crisis at the southern border making Americans less safe? Yes or no?
Senator, we have 260,000.
You refuse to answer the question. Let's move on. Has the crisis made aliens less safe? Yes or no?
Senator, we are seeking...
So you won't answer that question either. It's a yes or no. Has it made aliens less safe? Has the crisis made aliens, less safe? Are you willing to answer it?
Senator, the smuggling organizations...
Okay, you're filibustering again. Let me ask you this question. How many migrants have died under President Biden? How many migrants died in 2022? What do you say to the Texas farmers and ranchers who find pregnant ladies dead on their property, who find toddlers dead on their property? What do you say to them?
We are taking it to the smuggling organizations.
But you are not. That is simply not true. How many children have been sexually assaulted by human traffickers under the Biden administration?
Senator, this is precisely why we instituted...
I don't want a lecture. It's a question. How many children have been sexually assaulted by human traffickers under your administration?
Senator,
do you know how many children have been sexually assaulted?
This is why we...
Okay, you're going to refuse to answer that question as well. Let's move on. It's obvious you've been instructed to stonewall, so I'm not going to let you. You don't get to stonewall and filibuster. Now, one of my Democratic colleagues before said the Democrat talking point, quote, this problem didn't start under Biden. That red line is Joe Biden. And you're claiming nothing happened. Oh, gosh, this was here before us. No, you made the decision to allow this to happen. Let me ask you, we now have over 5.5 million people who've entered this country illegally under Joe Biden. How many murderers have you released into America?
Senator, I'm not aware of any murderer whom we've...
So you don't know?
Senator, let me say something.
Do you know? No, you don't get to give a speech. Do you know how many murderers you've released? How many rapists have you released?
Senator, I'm trying to answer your question.
You can answer, I know or I don't know.
Threat.
How many child molesters have you released?
And removed into the United States, from the United States.
Oh, so your testimony under oath, subject to perjury, is that you have not released any murderers, rapists, or child molesters among the 5.5 million. Is that your testimony?
Mr. Chairman, may I have the opportunity?
No, you may not. You may answer my question.
You're not.
Is that your testimony? Yes or no?
Senator, you're not allowing me to answer your question.
I am allowing you to answer. I'm not allowing you to filibuster. Let's move on to gotaways. Now, what happened under your administration? Gotaways consistently down at this low line. Boom, you get in. And they go from below 180,000 to 600,000. Now, I'll tell you this about a gotaway. You don't know. Among those 600,000 a year, you have no idea how many are murderers, correct? Do you know how many of those are murderers?
That is precisely
So you refuse to answer the question, you know?
It goes on and on like that for a long time. If you look up bitch slap in the dictionary, verbal bitch slap.
That's pretty much the definition. Enough's enough because he never says anything. He babbles, and some people have let him go on, and he will talk for the 4 minutes of the senator or whoever is supposed to be questioning him, and then their time is up.
Yep.
And he says nothing. There are no answers being given. It's enough's enough of this garbage.
And Ted Cruz knows. I mean, he said, obviously you've been instructed to stonewall. So, and that's exactly what it is. You're right. When they ask the question, he goes into this long diatribe about, we're looking at the smuggling organizations and all that kind of stuff. It's like,
we're like, well, we've kind of had oh, no, you haven't. You haven't done crap.
He hasn't. Yeah. Anything they've done, we've got a good take on this. Going back to the interview with Tommy Tuberville, he was asked about this specifically too, and his conclusion is pretty much the same as ours has been. Here's how that went.
Most devastating thing that's happened, Jesse, in my lifetime, and it's over. What you said, that they're here, they're not going home. We might be able to send a few of them home, but they've let their prisons out down in Venezuela. They've done everything they possibly can do to ruin our country. I just don't understand. I've asked some of my Democratic colleagues, what is it that you don't understand about our country is getting overrun by people that don't know anything about our country? They can't help our country whatsoever, and it's going to cost us a fortune, and it's going to cause crime to go out the roof. What is it you don't understand? We need to help other people. Wait a minute. We're all for immigration. We can bring 1 million people in a year. We can bring in people that speak our language, are educated, that can help us become a better country. But that's not what they want. They want voters. At the end of the day, that's what this is all about. You know that. But I'll tell you, it is going to be devastating to this next few generations coming up. And heaven help us if we don't get something done at the border. That's the reason I'm really disgusted with the Republican Party. We have had an opportunity to say, listen, we're going to take our football and go home. And we're not going to pass anything for the rest of this term. I don't care who it's for, whether it's a new budget, we're going to go home until you close that damn border, because it is killing the American people. And, but we won't do it. I mean, we've had every opportunity to say, listen, game, set, match. Y'all can play politics all you want. If you don't close the border, we're done. But nobody would do that up here.
Yeah, they're all gutless. 80% of them are gutless.
Yeah, and not just when he says killing Americans, it's financially, it's jobs that have gone somewhere else. And there have been deaths because of these people that have come through. That poor Laken Riley was doing nothing more but jogging on a campus, for crying out loud.
Yep. And the thing is that he was just released not too long before all that happened.
For child abuse.
But it was because there wasn't enough room in the detention facilities or something. It's like just totally crazy. Anyway, as of yesterday, the Trump trial started in New York over his alleged hush money paid to Stormy Daniels. If it happened years ago, well, it did happen. If it happened, put it that way. It was well beyond the statute of limitations, long time ago. Piers Morgan, which I don't agree with a lot of times, he was asked about this recently, and he points out the hypocrisy when compared to maybe a different president here.
And that was the same Bill Clinton who, last time I checked, had sex with an intern in the Oval Office and paid Paula Jones $850,000 to get rid of a allegation of harassment and abuse while he was a sitting president of the United States. I didn't see him in a courtroom for 6 weeks in an election year. My message to my liberal friends is this: why do you think this is going to do any good for you? Why do you not think people will see through this absolute double standard? One rule for Trump, another rule for any Democrat presidents who've been in, I would argue, far worse situations. I think that this is actually, in the end, going to play well for Trump. I think this is a reality show playing out every day, all day, of him sitting in that courtroom, reminding people of a double standard.
And it is playing well for Trump.
It's
this is affecting poll numbers between these two candidates. The spread is getting bigger every day.
I just saw the deal on CNN. You might have run across that one too, where every category that they were asking about, one category he was up like 15 points or something close to that on Biden. And it's like, who are these people who think he's doing a good job? I don't know who they are. Why?
People who,
I can't find anybody who voted for him.
I can't either. Not around where I live. And you and I both live in very blood red areas. So
Yes.
yeah, it's just not. There is a lady that lives down my street, and she doesn't like to talk to me. So. But she's a very much a lefty. She tried to convince me about the shot back when COVID was around. But and I laughed, and she hasn't talked to me since. But anyway, and you were talking about CNN, and I'm sure it kills them to speak about this. This was how Meet the Press had to talk about just those polling numbers.
We talk about the erosion for Biden, and now you start to see it. Look at these numbers. Trump advantages on all of these traits.
And I stop here because competent and effective, that was President Biden's, the crux of his campaign pitch back in 2020.
And we actually polled this question in 2020, and it was basically the exact opposite. It was Biden with about a 10-point advantage over Trump. And again, same with handling a crisis. Biden had the edge over Trump. And how about this? It's the former president, the current president. We don't really see matchups like this. Well, now we can measure it. Who has the strong record as president? And again, Trump outpacing Biden on that front. And again, you got to mention this one too, necessary mental and physical health. We asked this 4 years ago. It was a wash. It's now a clear liability for Joe Biden. So these are all troubling numbers for Biden.
Yep. All troubling numbers for Biden.
Oh yeah, they're not little. And you and I have been talking about how is it that Trump is only up by 2 points or something? And this doesn't make any sense. All of a sudden, they're getting more honest. They're being more honest in their reporting, or something is happening, because all of a sudden it's going.
You got to wonder. You got to wonder why they're changing their tune.
Something's not right. Well, the rumor is that, Greasy Gavin, I can't even fathom. He has destroyed California. Yeah. Now you want to make him president because, well, Joe's going to be too old. He's just not doing well, and he's going to have to step down now. And so we're going to here's our candidate we want to shove in.
Yeah. I mean, that very well could be. I've always thought it was going to be Michelle Obama.
No way in hell. And he's related to Pelosi.
No, I didn't know that.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
That's how Greasy Gavin got his where he got in.
I did read
and
somewhere.
He's got that same nasty, smug smile on his face, just like Mayorkas does.
Yep. I know.
Just want to take and wipe that smile right off.
Exactly. We need to bring Ted Cruz in and just have him take his boot, and put it right up. Well, anyway. But Nancy Pelosi supposedly is running for re-election now. I saw that yesterday, as a matter of fact. And she's grooming
Do they have enough vodka stored so she can make it for 2 years?
I mean, that could be. She's grooming her daughter to take over her district there in California. So I don't know. Back in the 60s, we found this clip yesterday. Ronald Reagan gave a speech referencing what we are seeing today, and it's kind of eerie, so you pay attention.
Because back in 1936, Mr. Democrat himself, Al Smith, the great American, came before the American people and charged that the leadership of his party was taking the party of Jefferson, Jackson, and Cleveland down the road under the banners of Marx, Lenin, and Stalin. And he walked away from his party, and he never returned till the day he died. Because to this day, the leadership of that party has been taking that party, that honorable party, down the road in the image of the Labour Socialist Party of England. Now, it doesn't require expropriation or confiscation of private property or business to impose socialism on a people. What does it mean whether you hold the deed to or the title to your business or property if the government holds the power of life and death over that business or property? And such machinery already exists. The government can find some charge to bring against any concern it chooses to prosecute. Every businessman has his own tale of harassment. Somewhere a perversion has taken place. Our natural, unalienable rights are now considered to be a dispensation of government. And freedom has never been so fragile, so close to slipping from our grasp as it is at this moment. Our Democratic opponents seem unwilling to debate these issues. They want to make you and I believe that this is a contest between two men, that we're to choose just between two personalities. Well, what of this man that they would destroy? And in destroying, they would destroy that which he represents, the ideas that you and I hold dear.
You know, I think that he saw it coming back in the 30s. The guy who he referenced, which I'd never heard of him before, to be honest. But I mean, all that has been a slow process up until the last 5, 6, maybe 10 years. We have seen the erosion of the fabric of what the Constitution had just been kind of destroyed.
Yeah, it's. I'm sorry. I'm of the old adage of, I don't care how old it is. If it ain't broke, don't fix it.
Exactly.
It don't need fixing. The only fixing that they're doing is making it a communist country. That ain't fixing stuff. No communist country has ever had prosperity, ever.
Well, and they keep throwing this out, this threat to democracy, which gets under both of our skins. I know we've talked about this many times. We do not have a democracy. A democracy does not look anything like what we have here in America or what we've had for 257 years.
Constitutional republic, and it is being flushed down the toilet, and it's irritating to see.
It sure has. Well, after all that, we need a palate cleanser. I did find something from Paul Harvey. And my dad being he was a retired police officer, deputy sheriff, as a matter of fact. So this kind of hit home for me. I liked it. And so hopefully this will kind of of course, police officers have been well maligned the last 10 years too. I mean, they're the enemy.
Defund the police so we can have more peaceful protests and burn down half a city.
You're right. It's crazy. What in the world? Anyway, they deserve our respect. If I get pulled over or whatever, it's always a good conversation because I got my empty hands with my fingers open on my steering wheel. And my dad taught me this back in the 70s when I was learning how to drive. So, I mean, why wouldn't I still do it today? Because he said, the thing is, whenever you pull somebody over, the big thing they want to know is that they are going to be safe. Because they're human beings just like everybody else. They want to know that they're safe. So you show them that they will be safe. One of the first things I tell them is I got a 9mm by my right knee. And they're like going, well, as long as you're good, as long as you don't touch it, we're good. They don't ask for me to give it to them. They don't ask me to throw it on the floor. I tell them immediately. And then I said, my ID's in my front pocket. And they're like, fine. So, I mean, as long as they know they're safe, it's a lot.
Yeah, we just lost a county sheriff doing just a routine traffic stop. They offed him just because of whatever. I don't know all the details yet. It just happened on Saturday. So,
there's a big thing on YouTube where they show you that how to argue with a police officer. And normally it doesn't turn out well for them, but they still put these videos up anyway. Saying that they're
my uncle was an officer down in Riverside for years and then became a detective. So, nope, I'm well aware of it as well. These people, you just don't know if it's your day to come home or not.
That's exactly right. It's just like a soldier, same kind of thing. Anyway, here's the late great Paul Harvey on police officers.
Policeman. A policeman is a composite of what all men are, I guess, a mingling of saint and sinner, dust and deity. What that really means is that they are exceptional. They are unusual. They are not commonplace. Buried under the froth is the fact. And the fact is that less than 0.5% of policemen misfit that uniform. And that is a better average than you'd find among clergymen. What is a policeman? He of all men is at once the most needed and the most wanted, a strangely nameless creature who is sir to his face and pig or worse behind his back. He must be such a diplomat that he can settle differences between individuals so that each will think he won. But if a policeman is neat, he's conceited. If he's careless, he's a bum. If he's pleasant, he's a flirt. If he's not, he's a grouch. He must make instant decisions which would require months for a lawyer. But if he hurries, he's careless. If he's deliberate, he's lazy. He must be first to an accident, infallible with a diagnosis. He must be able to start breathing, stop bleeding, tie splints, and above all, be sure the victim goes home without a limp. The police officer must know every gun, draw on the run, and hit where it doesn't hurt. He must be able to whip two men twice his size and half his age without damaging his uniform and without being brutal. If you hit him, he's a coward. If he hits you, he's a bully. The policeman from a single human hair must be able to describe the crime, the weapon, the criminal, and tell you where the criminal is hiding. But if he catches the criminal, he's lucky. If he doesn't, he's a dunce. He runs files and writes reports until his eyes ache to build a case against some felon who will get dealed out by a shameless Seamus. The policeman must be a minister, a social worker, a diplomat, a tough guy, and a gentleman. And, of course, he'll have to be a genius because he'll have to feed a family on a policeman's salary.
That's just so good. He's got so many good points there.
Yep.
And it's still true today. I don't know. I don't remember what year that was. Yeah. He said that, but all that's true.
It is. It's not one bit different.
Nope. Well, anyway, we hope you were somewhat informed and had fun like we did. Don't forget you can find us on iTunes, Spotify, iHeart, Google, or wherever you get your podcasts, including Miss A, including YouTube, yada, 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 all that stuff.
All the other yaddies.
Yeah,
and if you want to simplify and just go look back and listen to some of our past episodes, go ahead and go to our website at stayoffmylawn.us for all the past and present episodes.
Absolutely. And we will see you next week, folks.
Toodles. Thanks for listening. Well, we had fun and hope you did too. The opinions heard here today are not those of anyone other than Mike and Richard. If it made you laugh or go, or even, then we've done our job. Sort of. Well, mostly anyway. And if we made you think about things in a common sense manner, we welcome you to the club. And if it didn't, then just stay off my lawn. See you next time.